Welcome to the Find Your Voice, Change Your Life podcast with psychologist Dr. Doreen Downing. Listen in as Doreen interviews people who felt they didn't have a voice or who suffered extreme speaking anxiety. You'll hear stories about how they struggled to speak up, what they did to find their authentic voice, and the confidence they now feel to speak up and make an impact. If you want to get started right away to find your voice, download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com. And now, here is Doreen.
Hi, this is Dr. Doreen Downing. Welcome to the Find Your Voice, Change Your Life podcast. I have such a thrill each time I get to meet a new person who comes into my life. I have no idea. Well, I have some idea because we've had some conversation and written back and forth. But to me, for you, the listeners, what you're getting is an interview that is fresh. It's not pre-scripted. It is totally a new friend that I'm meeting today, Katrina, and she and I are going to talk about what it was like in some point in her life not having had a voice and the journey she took it and now the success that she gets to have because she has a voice. So, hello, Katrina.
Hello, Dr. Doreen. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you and on your podcast and just having this conversation today with your audience. So thank you for this.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said with my audience. Yes, it's with me, but it's my audience that's listening, and that's who we want to reach. And you sent me a bio, so I'd like to read what I can here, and so that
Absolutely.
people, good. All right. This is Katrina van Oudheusden is a business growth coach and creator of the Create Her Method, a revolutionary framework that helps highly accomplished women grow their businesses without burnout. And with a background rooted in Disney's legendary customer experience philosophy, Katrina brings a unique blend of strategic precision and emotional connection to everything she creates. I'm enjoying reading this because I love that idea about both the kind of being strategic, but also so open to whatever in terms of the emotional levels that goes on with us as humans. Let's go back to what I'm reading here. Through her unique offerings, Create Her Business Rewire. I'm going to say that again. Creator Business Rewire, the Creator Planner, and her in-person Creator Rest and Reset. She helps ambitious women reconnect with their natural rhythms and design businesses that flow. I'm going to take a nice full breath and let that land because that's beautiful the way you've worded that. Blends the art of customer experience. That's what you do. And with the science of business scaling, what is this? Turning clarity into cash flow, rest into results, and creativity in sustainable impact. You're a writer. You wrote this? Oh, wait, I didn't because this is just so uh, I don't know. It almost feels like it's delicious, this
Mm.
whole idea of flow, creativity, but also precision and a unique method that you've designed. So I think I like to always start with the end, meaning where you are now. And that's really not the end because it's just always the beginning. So uh, to let people know, wow, because that's how I'm feeling right now with you, Katrina, is wow, look at what you've accomplished. And I know based on all my interviews with people, they didn't start this way. You know, they
Mm-mm.
had to find their way, and it's been a journey. So let's start with where did you start your journey of this lifetime, this particular lifetime?
Where I'm at right now, if I had looked back in 2000 when I graduated from college, I'll totally date myself. I have no problem with that. Um, I would never have thought leaving college. I had a degree in hotel, restaurant, tourism management. I had a culinary degree. I was headed off to the world of Disney to start my culinary career. I thought that this was my life path. That was what I was going to do. I was going to be cooking. I was going to be um, at a happiest place on earth. That I truly believed back in 2000. And it's crazy that the last 25 years, this last quarter of a century, that journey has evolved, shifted, moved, changed. And as a female entrepreneur, that shift from an employee mindset into a business owner was really one of the biggest hurdles. And I hear not from my just from myself, but I experienced it. But it's that journey that we as women don't have a lot of training around. We're not really gifted how women build businesses. We haven't been gifted the role models of women building within our flow. Like we've been gifted a construct by men that have done incredible things. I am so grateful for their coaching. But yeah, where I am today with that retreat, with the rewire, with the planner, never in a million years that I would ever say that that was going to be my future.
Yeah, well, that's a quick snapshot also. When I got was kind of the difference between a masculine approach, maybe kind of ladder where you're climbing and, maybe elbowing and just really a force. And what you said to me felt like it reached my heart around
Mm,
the flow and a feminine way of building a business and to become more um, successful ourselves as women. So thank you
yes,
for that
pleasure.
snapshot. You mentioned, and this is partly, like, yeah, we as women don't learn, and we were little girls first, and that's when we start playing house and dolls, and or some of us, not all of us.
Right.
And so, what was it like, and where did you grow up, and what was that first family kind of environment where you were learning what it was like to be female?
Really interesting enough, I'm a child of six. My parents have been married for well over 55 years now. They got married at ages 19 and 17. My dad was 19, my mom was 17. They've gone through everything a human being couple can go through, raised in six incredible children. And I look back and think how blessed I am. Was it a perfect childhood? By no means at all. It was not the Brady Bunch as much as we watched that on television as kids. But what we got out of it was an incredible parents who did the best that they could with the skill set and the knowledge they did that continue to evolve as human beings. They showed me so much grace. They showed me what it was like to yell at each other but still fall in love with each other every day. They showed me how to get along with my brothers and sisters. They wanted what's best for me, and to this day still strive for that. They said, we want you happy and healthy. And, as a woman that hasn't been married yet or hasn't had children, I look at my parents for a lot of what they've really instilled upon me in my own personal growth journey, and just truly amazed that they did what they did. And so, yeah, I would say learning to be a female, I definitely was more of the tomboy than the princess. I did not dream about marriage and happy homes. I was more about selling candy at the middle school, making some money, figuring out how to double it, go back, get another, thing of candy and sell it again. So I guess I had a little bit of that entrepreneurial spirit, but didn't understand how to foster it. My parents were both, well educated, well employed individuals. And, we were all taught, go to school, get your education, get a good job, and go from there. And so I kind of bucked that when in 2013 because I left my Disney career, much to the chagrin of my siblings and my parents. And they're like, "Wait, you're doing this entrepreneur thing?" And they've watched me financially struggled, and they've had their doubts and both support and fear on both sides. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey for sure.
What you just named right there, the support and the fear of that, those who surround us as we take our own risk or make our own decisions, and then what what sometimes stops us is not only, like maybe we might not feel fear inside, but we get it from those around us,
Oh
and
yeah.
uh, that's what I'd like to hear a little bit more about right now, what that felt like and how you navigate a atmosphere of fear, even though you said there was support. But I think that the listeners today are those who what we're trying to infuse with more inner strength so that they can face the fears that society, family, community puts on them.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is personal development. One of the most fascinating things that I've discovered is that when we become an entrepreneur, we recognize we run the business. And so we do a lot more personal development than I think the average career individual does, to be honest. We're
Yeah.
looking to find out what our flaws are and how to fix them. So I did a lot of fixing, or I thought was fixing. I thought I could, solve myself or fix myself. And I really had to surrender all of that into understanding that who I am is my most trusted self. And from my parents to my brothers and sisters, and I still hear this, and they're going to hear this podcast, they'll hear me say it. I get their love and concern. There is this sense of they have a stability, a paycheck that comes in, living a lifestyle that suits them and that they're really happy to be in. And for me, I want to freaking change the world. I want to really make a difference around women and time and productivity. I want to be the loudest freaking voice out there that says, you know what, women, we've been doing it freaking wrong for decades, centuries, and we just didn't know any better because we never had the tools for it. We never had a woman step outside the box and say, I don't think this works for us. So I get where my family comes from. And they definitely, these last couple of years, as I've transitioned and really owned my voice, it hasn't been easy. It's been very difficult. Financially, it hasn't been, roses and butterflies. It's been scraping by. It's been doing things like going and doing Instacart, going and doing DoorDash just to get by. But the vision and the dream and knowing what we're creating and the conversations I'm having, that's what keeps pushing me forward. And while they don't see it, what I feel internally and the vision I have truly pulls me and my heart in such a way that's like I can't give up. It's like if I go back into a career, if I have to be behind a closed door or back in the kitchen, I know I will not survive. Mentally, physically, everything spiritually that I've invested in myself, I am not designed for that environment anymore. There's just no way to survive it. And so I
Mhm.
know what brings me forward. And that has taken a good couple of years of just figuring that out and then being really strong in that conversation.
Both. I heard both the knowing yourself, but also the power that that then gives you, the fuel, the fire. I'm feeling a little like fiery the way you express yourself. A lot of strength, and I know that the people I work with who come to me are those who want the kind of strength that you have, and they're learning from you today. What
Mm.
does it take? And I think that you just gave a hint about it. It's almost like no matter what, if you stick to your vision, there's going to be something in there that helps you keep moving. It may not be like a blast in fourth gear. Maybe it's only
It's going to be a throttle back and a slow down. And that sounds so counterintuitive to the hustle culture and the productivity and the quick response for everything. But literally the throttling back and slowing down is crazy to seem as financially stupid as it might appear is the greatest gift we can give each other as women.
let's both take a breath right now and give that to each other. A big, full, expansive breath. And it comes to me right now as I took my breath is trust. Trust if we do. But we have to know it's like learning to drive, or when I learned to drive, it is a little like the way you're describing it to me. It feels like a learning how this vehicle called our body and then our engine and our heart seems to be a big, big engine in there, and vision, all the things that you're talking about today is getting to know our machine, our instrument, our selves. And I want to hear much, much more about your particular journey, the waking up and the challenge going from being an employee to an entrepreneur. But I need to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
If you want to get started right away to find your voice, download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com.
Hi, we're back with Christina. I'm Katrina van Oudhausen. Is that how you say it?
That's really good. Yes. It's a
Pretty
Dutch
good.
name, so it's not the easiest to pronounce. I get it.
I love it though. Names are like music to me and how
Mm.
to say them. My name is Doreen, and sometimes people, well, depending on which country, they'll say Doreen, and just and
The
the way you
enunciation.
pronounce a name has, I don't know, juice. It
Yep.
has Katrina, beautiful name. So we're back with Katrina, and we've been talking about, well, the sense of having a really pretty basic, good, fundamental in a way that most beings need in order to get some good grounding. And I feel like Katrina has demonstrated that. And of course, we're little girls growing up in this big society, and we try and go out and we follow some course that looks good. You follow that course to be in hospitality, but something happened.
Mm.
What? And I know that the something that happened might not have just been a clap and something woke up, and it might have been gradual. Tell us about the waking up, I guess, is what I want to say.
The waking up actually took a little bit further in my journey. I thought the waking up and the voice change would have happened when I left Disney, but it wasn't that. It was actually later in career. It was probably about 10 to 15 into years of doing digital marketing. That was my transition. I got into digital marketing. I took the Disney customer service and brought that into the digital space because it was vastly missing back in 2013, 2008, in that time period. Still missing today. And really, what was interesting is, like you talked about, I was in the very masculine environment. It's very masculine environment in the kitchen. When I stepped into the world of digital and online marketing and business development, still very masculine. We're talking, it was everywhere I looked, it was men running the show, right? And thank God for that, to be honest. But the one moment I think really shifted for me in finding my voice was I was wrapping up a call with a mentor of mine, and we were talking about my next level of business, how to get to the multiple seven figure mark with what I was doing. And I just remember getting off that call, Doreen, and I was mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. I
Mm.
could not imagine building my business the way we had just laid out over the last hour of that call. It didn't feel authentic. I didn't like the way I was coaching people. I felt like I was missing something, especially with women. And so I got off that call. I hired a business muse. And am I allowed to say a slightly swearish word on here, or do I need to walk around it a little bit? Okay, just want to make sure, because some women find this word really offensive, and I did at first too. But there was the woman I was speaking with, and she's no longer a business muse anymore, much to my chagrin. She asked me a question as I was sharing, like, what I wanted for my health, what I wanted for my relationships, what I wanted for my business, like what I wanted for my life.
Mhm.
And she looked at me and she goes, "Well, have you consulted your pussy?"
Uh-huh.
What does that have to do with the price and tea? Like, I didn't understand the question. I was actually offended by the word she used
Uh-huh.
because it feels like it's a derogatory term. And I also got super curious
Uh-huh.
because I was so offended and I was so appalled. And I was like, why can't I even say this word? Like, I struggled to say that P word for a really long time. But here's the thing, for all my listeners out there, for all of our listeners out here, for the women and the men, that thread that I pulled asked me one simple question. What is the difference between how men and women build business? And when I went asking, the only thing definitively I could be told was that we do build businesses differently.
Uh-huh.
Doreen, that was it. That was all they could tell me. Yeah, we build businesses differently. How? Like, the men have actually physically transformed the invisible into physical things that
Yes.
they do.
Yes. The idea of a business growing is, I guess you could say, you could quantify it, but I think where you're leaning into right now is business as coming from a sense of being.
Hmm. Well, and not only, so this gets even a little deeper. Now you're going to find this fascinating. So we've been taught the circadian rhythm. Does everyone know the circadian rhythm? It's what we think is sunrise, sunset. It's the 24-hour clock,
Yeah,
sort of,
yeah,
right?
sort of.
It's the male hormonal cycle. It's how men hormonally cycle. They cycle within 24 hours, called the circadian rhythm. Do you know what an infradian rhythm is?
Oh, no, I don't. This is brand new.
An infradian rhythm is the female cycle. Hi, did you know that there's a circadian and an infradian? Do both men and women share both of these? Yes. Is one more unique to the other? Absolutely. Women cycle energetically and hormonally in 28 to 30 days. Hmm. What might that look like? Oh,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's called your menstrual cycle. But you
Yeah.
only call it a cycle when you bleed, but there's so much more to the women's thinking process. When we talk about the circadian rhythm, I'm going to dive into this really quick because I thought this was fascinating. As I've delved into the circadian rhythm and I talk about the physical manifestation around how business got designed for men, so men have actually created the things like the 5 a.m. morning, the miracle morning. Why? Because men's productivity is at its peak when they first wake up. When they get stuff done, they literally wake up ready to go. Hint, hint, wink, wink, right? They literally do this. So they've built a structure that serves their hormonal cycle. High testosterone, high cortisone levels. In the afternoon, testosterone wanes. Guess what they created? Happy hour, golfing, the company meetings. They always happen after when? Lunchtime. Why? Because that's when they're more open to communication and socialization and closing deals. They've literally built it around how they feel.
Fascinating.
Shocking.
Fascinating,
But
Katrina.
have women done this? Nope, because we don't even know what an infradian rhythm is. We don't even know the 4 cycles of energy that we go through every month that give us superpowers that the men will never be able to replicate. But we don't weave and build our business within that 28-day cycle. We're trying to cram it all into a 24-hour day. That's not designed for us.
Oh, oh, gosh, this
It's
is the,
fascinating.
yeah, it
So,
is.
yeah.
What you're saying right now, I think is resonating out like, huh? Aha. So
Yeah.
yeah. And
That
that's
that
what you've discovered then. Now we're moving on into your own, what you're doing in life currently and offering this perspective that is very easy to understand, especially
mm,
the way you just did it in 2 minutes.
yeah. Well, it's fascinating because in that transition of trying to figure that out, I lost my voice. So when you talk about where's the transition of losing your voice, that was a big one the last couple of years because I was trying to figure it out. There's no role model during. There's no female out there that's modeling a way of life like this. They're starting to be. I'm finding the women. We are out there. Um, and we need louder voices. So I would say the biggest transition for me was creating and testing and working with women to really design a new way of growing a business, of time and productivity, of creating events where you actually rest as women. That has been a 2.5, 3 year process. And I think when you talk about what I just shared throughout this whole episode, this is the time period where my family has questioned me the most. This is the time period where more doubt has crept in. This is the time period of, do I go get a job? This has been the time period of, Jesus, can I keep going when it feels like everything is against me? Until you get that first client and you start getting the testimonials and you start hearing the difference you're making in women's lives. And it feels like it's taking forever to get there, ladies and gentlemen that are listening. But I promise you, when you find your voice, you can't shut up about it. When you experience the results for yourself on living in a 28-day cycle, it's like reawakening to a world around you you didn't even see, and you stop the productivity cycle and you start figuring out how to schedule and rest, the men appreciate it. The females are more magnetic, more attractive. It is truly something incredible to be a part of. That's all that's my experience so far.
Oh, it's a revolution and evolution. I felt both the way you describe what's possible for us. Well, we're moving on. Tell
Yep.
us how then, uh, what I mean, I get a sense of the work that you do. You talked in the beginning, I talked about creator, but let's see how people can find you, what they might get from working with you.
Well, Create Her is actually divine inspired. I had gone through multiple names over the years, but there was something about Creator, and it's spelled Creather. And part of that comes from the fact that women literally are creators every single month. Whether you're in your infradian rhythm, pre-infradian, or post-infradian, I don't think I'm trying to figure out how to use the word like peri and postmenopausal, but it's really like post-infradian. Is if we start embracing our infradian rhythm and then we understand that we're pre and post-infradian rhythm in our lives, what's life afterwards? What's because that cycle still continues. And so Creator was really designed as a way to, I thank all the guys out there, all my mentors that are listening, because you gave me the framework. And then I went in and I said, Doreen, what do women really want? And what's been interesting is that we've changed the language. So we stopped using words like achieve and we started using words like accomplish.
Hmm.
We stopped using words like I charge for my service and we started saying I receive for my service.
Hmm.
And we stopped using the word goals and we started using the words intentions. And we
Hmm.
started changing language. So when you work with me, you get the sense of finding your unique flow. Like it's different for every woman I work with. Whether you have children, you don't have children, you're a caregiver, our seasons of life are ever evolving. But what you get is an authentic female perspective, a sense of being your true self, understanding your brain does not work the same way every single day, and honoring your rest to really step into the wife, the parent, the sister, the aunt, the mother, like whatever you choose to be in that moment, but really giving yourself that permission to be your most authentic self. And that's really what I love working with women around.
Yeah, right now you're stepping into being the daughter.
Very much so. Yes.
Yes. Well, and I also get it's not just a role that we move ourselves into, it's a deeper sense of embracing what that
Mm,
represents or how to be it more fully, like
yeah.
being the daughter or the,
It is. And it's so interesting because the women I work with, they're so afraid to schedule time off. Like, just so you know, I actually teach women to block 3 to 5 days off their calendar every month where they are not allowed to take a client. They're not allowed
to check
to,
social media.
yeah, to be checking social media. They're not allowed to do any of that like crazy stuff. There really is a time to reflect and listen to your body because that downtime, especially if you're in your menstrual phase or you're in, so I have women that follow that are no longer in their infradian rhythm. So they're post infradian rhythm. And so they started following the moon cycle. That was their request. And so they're still finding the energy cycles and they're starting to adapt their lifestyle to following that moon energy, which is very much the feminine energy that's out there. So it's been fascinating because they're teaching me as much as I'm learning from them. And the community of women, the collaboration, thus learning together what business, productivity, time, family, health, self-care, really focusing on that looks like. So it's an incredible journey that is literally for me just getting started. And I look forward to the next, couple of decades of working with women and handing this off and letting this continue to be a new way of looking at life through a different lens for women. That's what I'm really excited about.
Beautiful, beautiful. I get a sense of the ancestral today, just right there when I
Yes.
tapped in. I heard that somewhere in my when I was
Yeah.
receiving. And then in the beginning today, you used a word vision. So I'm
Mm.
thinking that that's another one that seems to be rather than go climb the mountain and reach your goal. It's like having the
Yeah,
vision is
yeah, I'm taking
I
the
think
women with me. Man, we're all going together because I just feel like Doreen, we're all connected and like I'm learning from you. You're learning from me. The younger generation's learning from both of us. And that wisdom that we have as women is so important that we impart. And that's why, and I forgot to mention, like if you want to follow me, Katrina van Oudheusden on LinkedIn. If you guys are following me on that one, I think Doreen's got that in the show notes. I'm also starting to become more active on Pinterest. And the reason being is that there's a lot of women over on Pinterest. And as much as I love other social media sites, they're kind of boring to me, to be honest. I've been playing on them since like 2006. So I'm a little like over the media play. So I do better when I answer emails, to be honest.
I did too,
Um,
actually, and I think it's relational
yeah,
that we like to be in open channels with people, and that's why today's been so much fun with you. Well,
absolutely.
we're at the end, and I always like to pause, take a full open breath, and have you listen. That's one of the lessons I think you're bringing today to us is the listening and what it takes to pause and tap into, listen, and to me, that's where voice comes from. The true, authentic voice is when we stop, listen, and then express. So, if you could just, I was going to say, bless us with some final thoughts that come through as you listen to this now moment.
For your audience and for the listeners, I want you just to be present to who you already are naturally and tap into your body. Don't let anyone out there tell you that what you feel is inauthentic, what you're experiencing is not real. There is much truth when we sit in our silence. And I invite you, no matter where you're at in the world, go step outside and close your eyes and just breathe. Take 2 minutes, feel the sun, the warmth, feel the breeze against your skin, experience and be very mindful of that moment. And I promise you, you'll feel like you reconnected to source, yourself, and everything around you. It'll provide clarity and a whole new way to look at your day.
And a whole new way of being in your day. Thank you so
Yes,
much.
my pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being with us today for this episode of Find Your Voice, Change Your Life. Each person during interviews shares what has helped them find their voice. You can learn from these guests and find your voice so you can be confident to speak up and speak out. And remember to download Doreen's free 7-step guide to fearless speaking at doreen7steps.com. We hope you enjoyed the show and will return next time. Until then, goodbye for now.